Then what's all those white people on that radio all night talking to us niggers over here in the middle of a goddamn jungle? What the hell are they doing it for? Obviously they're unhappy. Well, she just came out of isolation. She went maybe 7 days. How do you feel, my love? Well, that's the appropriate answer. I'm not asking for that tonight. We're being much more frank because you're not going back there. How do you feel about it?
It gave me a lot of therapy.
Well, we don't enjoy it. We're trying to get you to be, you're very bright, and you've got so many attractive features. We want you to get yourself together, you know?
Thank you, Dad.
Go to the showers and food and so forth, whatever you need to do to get up to par. Tell us your thoughts. He's talking to us very honestly about things he didn't like and things he did. I'm talking about Jeff, who's been in the box. Michaeline, you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you tell us what it, because the purpose of the box is to get us together, not to punish. Do you understand? Hmm? And if you don't understand, don't mind saying it. Because nobody's going to learning for anything. We've had a lot of people disagree and say things and go to sleep. They've not gone to learning or anything. But that's what you must see. We want you to know you. To find the better you. Did you hear what I said?
Yes. Yes, Dad.
What are you feeling right now?
I want to be a better socialist.
Well, that's pretty good for coming out of 7 days. Many people in the world will be hostile, and you will have that. But work on guilt. I've been talking about my guilt tonight, and wish you could have been here to hear it. It might have helped you. Maybe others can tell you, and maybe the tape can be replayed. But we're going to help you be a better socialist.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tommy is doing a good job of therapy in that he not letting a lot of vengeance and hostility and irritation or ego possess him in that matter, which is highly essential. The benefits of communism are incalculable, and the dangers of capitalism are incomprehensible. You die when you're a socialist, right? But you have a lot less accidents and diseases because of the protective factor of medicine first, and then this factor that I have, which is an unknown quantity. Those in capitalism can't buy it. You go to a capitalist hospital, what happens to you? Boy, you'll feel it when you run by your desk, boy, when they run in with your little, I've been there, Jesus Christ, and they slap your tray down or they jerk your sheet, and you can tell they'd just soon you die and get out of their way. Well, that piece of news in Michigan, 54 people killed by nurses. Nurse said, why did you kill this one woman? She was in her 40s. Why'd you kill her? Well, I didn't like to hear, I didn't want to hear complaining. I didn't want to hear no moaning. Said, well, she'd had her bone broken in an automobile accident. I didn't want to hear. Didn't want to be bothered. The terrible part of it is nothing. They got paid. They'd have to work someplace. I guess they thought they were going to kill all the sick people ever came and get their wages. 54 people killed. You know how they killed them? Suffocation with a pillowcase. Pillow. That's American medicine. And you say, oh, that just happens once. John Harris can tell you that they don't report a fraction. He does autopsies. He can tell you they don't report a fraction. They were just talking about it. He didn't tell me directly, but he told one of our staff. They don't report a fraction of the murders that take place in San Francisco. They don't want to upset the general public. They'll put out one figure, and it's an enormously higher figure, he said. They don't want the people to know how unsafe it is to walk the streets of San Francisco. So it's something you to consider. Death, death, death. They kill people, give them wrong medicines. 1 out of 3, according to Reader's Digest, given the wrong medication in the hospital. Better than 1/2 of the surgeries for cancer of the breast unnecessary in American hospitals just because a goddamn doctor wants to make a quick buck and go golfing. That's what you face. Here you don't face that. Even if you're a Leela Murphy, God damn it, Father won't allow any kind of feeling, whether she was hostile, ungrateful, and stole from us, didn't make a difference. He'll still see that everything's done. He raised hell over there one night to get this woman looked through this situation. We've got to get her to Georgetown, and we paid $700 for a plane. She had to move that quick. That was 3 months ago. That's the way he does. When you get sick, he don't take any spite out on you. And if you see any nurse doing it, you let me know. However, how would some of you know, being that you're so self-centered? And the ones that are not self-centered won't be noticing it, and it won't be happening to them. But everybody has a complaint. It would help us, though, like Jeff started. He said, I'm going to point out my faults, and he went into some of the discourse about the way he is. And I'd like to hear some of you, and I think that's the way it ought to be. And we've made that law, and I think everybody should have to abide by it, that there should be a requirement, a absolute requirement before you get up and complain about anybody or write a complaint, that you have to talk about your own shittiness. You hear what I said? I think that ought to be a law. Seniors too say, I can't write. Well, then talk. Find somebody and tell it before you start griping about this, that, and the other. Because all that'll be heard out of this tonight is somebody will go, the Father told you I didn't have to put up the way you're treating me in the drugstore or the way you're treating me in the hospital. If you're really honest, the reports I get back from that hospital is I never saw such care. I hear black and white. They say, Jesus Christ. They take care of you around the 24 hours. When we had all that thing that they brought in from the United States, that horrible flu that closed down schools, we had it cooked, killed, and isolated, and they showered you and took care of you around the clock. Nah, you won't get that. But some of you will have to get sick before you appreciate that. Your husband or your wife. And sometimes it won't be your husband or your wife. You yourself will have to be sick. Not your child, but you. You're asking to be sick because you'll never know what this place means until you're in trouble. Until the law comes knocking at the door. There's 30 or 40 people now the law's after in the United States. And I said, they can't come and get you here. And the government has backed me up. Why do they back me up? Because they're so principled? No, because they know exactly what I mean. I'll raise more hell in the Northwest District than anybody can think about if they try to come and get one of you. I'll raise hell! That's why they're not going to fuck with us up here. And that's why we have to deal with anybody here severely and reach them with our justice all over the world if necessary, if they try to internally go out and cause us trouble from within and lie or tell stories about us from within. We have to get those people because we can never be hurt from any outside source. As long as we keep our strength and our solidarity, they'll never bother us. Our children will have more peace than any children on earth because they won't dare move against us. I don't care what kind of a government comes in Georgetown. We'll still be a fact, and we'll be an angry fact, and it'll get down to them how angry we are. Because the world's still looking on. I don't care if it's technocrats in Georgetown or socialists. Russia's still watching. And Russia isn't going to go nowhere. That's a point to remember. Russia isn't going to go away. When Russia goes away, the whole northern hemisphere will be gone. And by God, when that whole northern hemisphere is gone, as much as my heart would break over the thought, we will take care of ourselves then. When governments teeter and totter and fall, and there's 1,000 of us niggers up here on this hill, oh, love, don't tell me we can't take care of ourselves then. I thought they shit with us on that doctor. I had me some schemes. I'd picked out a few folks who's got some rich wealth, and I know where they're conserving, and I was going to go running through Port Khartoum and get that goddamn money and wealth like Mao. And don't write that down. Edith, why'd you write that shit down? Don't write that shit down on no paper. And then I was going to go through the whole of the bailiwicks and get that stuff. Get it. I was going to get it and distribute it to every person in Khartoum. That's what Mao did, where they betrayed the goddamn revolution and built their chauvinism. Just distribute it all. So you want to work with us? And if they didn't want to work with us, they're going to feel mighty bad about the fuckers in Georgetown when they come in and we've distributed the wealth amongst the people when some of them haven't had all that they should have had. Honey, there's ways, and we need to get our minds to working. We could actually shake this whole country for socialism. We could shake it for revolution till, by God, they wouldn't know what to do with it. We can do it. Don't let a foreign image stand in our way or an American Yankee image stand in our way. When folk get to eating, they don't give a shit who's feeding them. They won't care whether you're Christian or Jew, Mohammedan or American or where in the hell you hail from. And you ought to have your creative minds to work for some of these kind of strategies. I'm sick and tired of every goddamn white knight having to stand around in a war council and talk what the hell we're going to do. And I'm sick and tired of waiting on a white knight. We should be doing some thinking. Fucker says we can't give no food away, one of the little fuckers in the government. There ought to be some way we can give some things away. And our minds ought to be working on that. Offering things that are indispensable to them. Organizing, if nothing else. But there's ways. There's ways. I'm telling you, there's ways. If you can't give free rice, by God, then you can take some cookies into folks and show your goodwill. If you understand what I'm saying. Anybody got any question about the benefits of communism? You say, well, I'm a capitalist. I'd like to be a capitalist. Well, they don't make it. They don't make it. 5 capitalist rich supporters that helped overthrow the democracy of the Philippines with the U.S. CIA support, and the CIA didn't lift a finger to save their ass. 5 of them got hung in public square because Marcos got nervous and thought maybe one of them was going to get a little bit more power than he had, the dictator did. So down they went. Tell me about Nixon, honey. He had lots of it, huh? He had lots of it, but some other dog wanted it a little better than he did. He crossed some old narcissistic newsman somewhere. Truth, they don't give a shit about truth. That wasn't it. He wasn't going down the line. He wasn't playing the game to suit everybody just right. You can't play the game right enough. Bhutto, you can't tell me Bhutto, Z.T. Bhutto didn't do all that. He had all the power, the military, everything, all the prestige, and was a dictator, prime minister of the Pakistan Republic, just above India and between India and the Soviet Union, narrowed in there between China. What the hell did he do wrong? He had everything going for him, but suddenly somebody wanted his power. And now he's in a cold, damp cell without a cot, waiting 7 days. 7 days to be hung in public square. Capitalist. What the fuck you talking about? There's always somebody after your job. Bert Lance. Somebody got his, didn't they? They got him, didn't they? Chief advisor to Mr. Carter, President Carter. Was he a socialist? Hell no! He was a banker. But somebody didn't like him because he had a little more power than he did. So they got him. Nobody to fight for him. There wasn't no 1,000 people to march around Washington for Bert Lance. Nobody lifted a finger. He lost his job, now he's on his way to jail. Congressman Diggs, he ought to long ago been a communist. Might as well, he got the same cost. He paid the same price. He's black. All the white people in the Congress have robbed it blind. They've been robbed half the nation. Nixon stole it blind, and he's over on the Pacific coast. But Diggs, where's he? On his way to 175 years up the river. He's black. You don't give a shit whether you're a black capitalist or a black socialist. They don't want you, baby. Sooner or later, they're coming to get you. And we've got the advantage. We know the game. We are not afraid anymore. And we've got a solution. Togetherness. Togetherness. Socialism. One for all and all for one. You tell me that there's any better solution to life. If you're just interested in life. Get our ass together so we could trust people to travel around so they won't go into Georgetown like we had the last foray and had to hear them talk about the things they stole from one another and the little, well, you know, little things, shit. If we get that under control, you could have the best movies, the best culture, the best art, and all of you could have your tape recorder if that's what the hell you want. You understand what I'm talking about? If we had to spend less time watching folk, and more people would work on their own initiative. Look what we're doing now. Look what I did by giving my body. Look the hell what I did by just tightening on dollars till sometime I didn't know how I could stretch them as far. How many times I risked going to jail? Jesus Christ. Telephones and everything else is shit. The shit we've done. So it's just a dime. Honey, a dime's a dime. You don't know how many pills those dimes bought. The attorney used to say to me, this is too much. We did it. He did it too. And he was in a way really right, you know. It was But how in the hell else could I do it? Because folks would not concern themselves about pennies. You wouldn't be here today if I hadn't done it. Sure as hell if I hadn't given my body. Sure as hell if I hadn't fucked all these sons of bitches. If I hadn't kept them quiet and hadn't sometimes got money for you, $5,000 on one occasion to save babies from some old bitch. Such a nightmare in my life. All I can see is nothing but her white tresses on her dress. That's hell. And some of you won't even work when some of us have gone through that kind of hell. Why in the hell is it? Why in the hell is it you give us trouble? Why? I didn't want to live, much less fuck some old white bitch. Never saw an asshole that I liked. Asses is for shitting in my book. Okay. Just understand it. Why should I be good and you not be? I'll still be good whether you're good or not. That makes no difference, because I know I'm not worth shit. Got no right to be anything else but just what I am, a servant to the people. 2 out of 3 babies going to bed hungry. But I say that, that's just numbers to a lot of you. You don't think about a hungry baby. My God, you better think about it sometime. If it gets home, some of these old-timers know what it is. It ain't fun. It ain't fun when you got no food in the cupboard. And you got babies crying. My communism was confirmed on the mountains in Rio de Janeiro, just outside of Rio Comprido. I became a confirmed goddamn communist and a hater of all things religious when I was on that mountaintop. And those poor religious people caught up in the opiate of religion, talking to the Lord, said it's the doença di diablo, the disease of the devil. And it was nothing but just a rage of tuberculosis. No medicines, nothing. And I'll never forget one thing, that final blow, and I'll keep that life in me as long as I live. That fucking priest was with me. I wanted to throw him off the mountaintop. Damn near did. Damn near did. I did something. He's looking for me. I can tell you that. If there's a world left, he's looking for me if he's still alive. But I didn't throw him off, but I come damn near close to it. Next best thing I could do was boot him in the ass and cause him to slide about 150 feet down the side of that fucking mountain. I don't know what condition he was in. I heard he was alive, though, and wondering who in the hell I was. But he didn't know me, because I looked like every other brasileiro to him. But I walked in, and that son of a bitchin' priest was standing over this little boy. His mama, dad was gone, and his mama was laying on a board. Not a box, on a board. There was one scrawny-ass chicken in that hut. Nothing but leaves, some kind of damn leaves. It must have been like our truly. And then some cardboard laid over the side of it. 4 little children laying around him, the little boy, standing. And the priest said, I want to give him the blessing because he's going to have to be the head of this house. Him and his fancy robes. I said, why don't you sell those goddamn robes? He said, well, who are you? Then I spoke Portuguese better than I did, and he wanted to know who I was and asked the community. The community wouldn't give me any help. That's why I'm telling you, you can organize. The community would not give him any help to find out who I was, and a lot of them knew because I'd taken food up and down that mountain. And nobody would tell that fucking priest who I was. And I was saying damn bad stuff. Could have got me in trouble because at that time the military was well in control of that district. And he said, well, I'm giving him a blessing so he can lead this family. 4 scrawny children that looked like death warmed over. And his little eyes sunken in his head. And that scrawny-ass chicken that looked like it was dead with feathers on it. And he's giving the blessing and waving that fucking perfume over that body. And he chased me down a goddamn hill, kept running after me, find out who I was. I said, leave me alone, son of a bitch. Because I had family to rear. I always had family to rear. I had children I'd already adopted, and I had an orphanage to take care of. I thought, fucker, you keep pursuing me. If I knew if he went down a little further, there was some bourgeois that'd help. And I thought, if he goes that way, it's too much. So I led him over to the center part. And he followed me, kept going over trying to preach to me. He got his ass up my face. I thought, well, the side over there, if I hit him that way, man, he's dead. If I just get him this way and slide him, just kind of boost him, he'll get a few bumps on the way down. But I didn't count on him going as far as he did. If 150 is too far, he didn't go that far. But honey, he went a good 75 feet. Jesus Christ. I just pressed him in his damn robes, and he slid his ass down there. And he wasn't calling Jesus either when he was going down there. He was screaming like a banshee. Lousy people. And I became a confirmed communist at that point. Not right, it's not right, it's not right that we don't feel guilt when a little boy, 7 years of age, has got to raise all the rest of them and not a goddamn person in the world to give a goddamn, and a motherfucking priest going through waving some incense over him. Fuck the priest, and fuck their religion, and fuck all these people that don't feel guilt about a world like that. It's terrible. You ought to take you through a world tour. You don't have any idea. Not only just that little boy, but 10,000 people were wiped out that day. In that one whole area, 10,000 people. It wasn't tuberculosis. That was one of the raging problems. It was gastroenteritis. They called it the disease of the devil. It was so widespread. So tonight, in the close, as we finish, is there any comment? Because you ought to know something of me from tonight. Would you ask me a question quickly, to the point, or say some interesting quick point you got out of, what did you get out about my character, or something that touched you that I said? I want to see where our consciousness is.
I should have thought more about your character before I got up here. I wanted to get something out before I started getting back into the negative thoughts that were bothering me, and I thought I should come and get it out front.
Well, I don't think that that's out of order. May not be able to get all that worked out tonight, but there better not be anybody intimidating you. You keep the same rules as everybody else. Nobody else should bother you or in any deed pick on you. That if they are, I don't know if they are. That would take too long to discuss. But I can surely tell you that I have an ear for every complaint. And you're quite proper in saying, yeah, I'm sorry I got up, because any of our life is not as bad if you think about it. It is not as bad as we think it is at the moment. But I still think that any discussion of learning in areas where it can be improved, there was something you said particularly that bothered me, that Carol Kearns covered for somebody. That bothered me. That's unjust. That you showed favoritism enough for David. That may be half David's problem, if you covered for him.
Dad, I didn't cover for him because I did tell Penny, but I did let him manipulate me at that point, and I got it out over the thing.
I'm not throwing nobody into learning. This discussion will bring nobody into learning. It's important that we think without intimidation or fear. If we're ever to have any deep soul thought, we've got to get some of those moments where you can't think every time you're going to say something, somebody's going to say learning, or somebody's going to jump down your throat. And it's necessary at times. You've got to have it, because that's all some people respond to. These two little lads, by God, if you'd seen all they've been doing, you'd know that some people, that's all they respond to at this point. But I still like to see if they can be, and if we had the time, if we didn't just have to work, we got people to save. I'd like for people to talk to you, Comrade Johnson, and Comrade Rhodes, to find out what the hell's making you tick. Because I have an admiration for one side of them. You know enough about me to know I do. Little shit sleeping out the window trying to run through a jungle. I admire that, but I don't understand what's going on in their head that they want to cause us all this trouble. I admire spunk, but not spunk used for anarchy. Not spunk used for rebellion. But I do say it takes a hell of a... I don't know. I wish to God I'd get you on my side. That's something for if you teachers could work on it. They got this kind of ego identity. They can leap out windows together, two of them, and they got a whole goddamn armed arsenal, and they're asleep, so I'm not getting them any behavior much to talk to think on. But you have got to stay apart until you become socialist, then you can become mighty soldiers. How'd you think you're going to get away? Did you think you're going to get away, leaping out through that window?
No. No.
Well, why'd you do it? And then you got back, they tied you up, and one of you untied the other one. Who untied the other one?
Me.
Who?
Me.
You did? Well, now you've been tied all that. Is it fun being tied?
No.
You know I don't want you tied. Hmm? You know that I don't want to see you tied like that.
Yeah.
But you gotta follow, I hate that word rule, because the fascists have used it so much, but communists have to use rules too. More so because fascists are technically way ahead of us. Their massive murderous schemes are out of our category. We wouldn't even dream of a neutron bomb to destroy people and not property. You kids have got to follow all the rules the rest of us do. You can't do this shit. You got caught. Last night with a tiger you got caught. You were scared to death, that tiger, last night. What did you do it again for today? Tell me, they're brave enough to jump out the window. Somebody give me analysis, because I'm tired and I got a hell of a headache. Tell me what the hell you think about this. I got some thoughts about what the hell you think about this. Brave enough to jump out the window, brave enough to take on the system, and scared shitless of a tiger.
No, they don't want to be destroyed by the tiger because they know their body would be cut up. But yet they don't have no fear of danger. They certainly don't have no fear of danger. Anytime they leaped out the window, they don't care. They just don't give a damn.
The guard put the gun on them in their belly, and they didn't even respond.
Well,
Went ape shit over that tiger, though.
They have no fear for them.
They know you won't let anything happen.
I'm not so sure about that. I wondered about that, but last night I'm not so sure.
Dad, I think they have no fear of things that they can calculate, but like things that they don't know about. You know, they just fall apart.
That's what she said. I said, brilliant coming from a senior, the unknown. What did you say, Stephen? Statement made by Mark, he'd be cut up by that tiger, yeah? He said Father'd put him back together if he got cut up with a tiger. Is that what you guys are counting on? Well, Leela Murphy was not as nice as she should be, and I didn't put her back together, and she's down there in a box under the ground.
That's right.
Why should you maintain an 84-year-old woman who won't even show a proper understanding or gratitude or follow instructions? Why? And she costs more than her income. Now you children, you haven't got a dime. I don't think you get a check any month. Why do you think I'm going to put you back together? Why should I put you back together?
I said when you took why? Because I didn't know. I said when you tag me up, you're going to put me back together.
Anybody got any ideas to do? Anything further comments to say before we make this decision? These two I can't let go on. Have I said enough on your case that will remedy the pressure, and I'm sure it will get people off your back? Because you can bring it up the next meeting.
Yeah, thank you, Dad. And mainly that I'm thinking about your character and try to endure more. And I'm sorry that I brought this up.
Well, I'm sorry that you did. I'm not sorry that you did. I hope you will not build a case because you know your manipulative patterns. Lots of people have manipulative patterns. But I know that place is not perfect. Yes. Yes, thank you. And all of you take your points from him. He made some good points. If they apply, use them. And don't pick on him for doing it because I asked for honesty tonight. And better not. When I asked for honesty and said there'll be no repercussions, there better not be any kind of problem about it, no matter who gets on the floor. If I say honest, be straight, tell me exactly what you feel, whether you, even though you know you're a shithead if you say something, and somebody then picks on them for it, I'll get them. Because you have to have some knowledge of where people are at. You can keep rules, that's wonderful, but people got to understand the rules. they got to be sure they're fair. And if you'll think on it, as he just said, that I'll think about what the prison you're in, or he didn't say that, but some essence of that. I'm in a worse learning crew than you're in. And every day you pass me, know it. People do shitty stuff to me. And I could unleash on here tonight, I'd have trouble. I'd have too much trouble to run the organization, I can tell you. I'd have too much trouble to run the organization. They do shitty stuff to me. They do shitty stuff. I ain't going to get into it no further, because the organization. They take their moods, their spites, their little feelings, they take it out on me. I'm supposed to be the final person you can dump it on. I'm God. Communists ought to know better than that. They can't dump it on anybody else, they dump it on me. They won't cry to anybody else, they cry to me. And that's not right. When you got 1,000 folk to think about and care for, you ought to have 1,000 folk to feel they can dump any kind of emotion they want to onto you. But they'll do it. Take a walk through here with me. Now watch. Some senior will stop me, and even middle age. And youth, hungry for affection and God, they've got problems. Youth will do it. Bless their little hearts. Come up and say, somebody took my pencil, somebody hit me Tuesday, and this is now Saturday. Some senior says, I don't know, I can't even remember. It's just too damn crazy to talk about. It's too crazy to talk about. Too crazy. And to defy you, I can walk in those showers. I don't like to walk in on people. I don't like to walk in on whether their privacy of the shower. And I walk in the first part and say, turn the water off. They say, it's Father, and by God, you'll have to walk clear in to see their naked body under the faucet before they'll pay attention to you. And that slightly embarrasses them. And it slightly embarrasses me, because I have no desire to be wandering around. There's one thing that sex never did a damn thing for me, to watch somebody else. If I'm going to do it, I want to be a participant. If you follow what I'm saying. And that's just a few things today. But if you're where you ought to be, like I try to keep myself at a zero consciousness, you will not remember what the hell happened to you today anyway, that much. So I'm really having to work at it to think of the things that happened to me today. It'll hell of a lot of shit, though. When they do it, they'll get moody. They'll get moody. People who work close to you get moody. They won't talk. And I'm supposed to guess what the problem is. Or I'm supposed to work out all the problem some way magically. They'll mumble when you talk to them. Just to be shitty. And I know they work hard. They got a lot on them. But why should they do that to me? I got more on them than they got on them, because I got everybody on me. I hope they heard it right now for the sake of the work, because I'd live longer. One thing I cannot deal with is moods. And they'll take their conflicts with each other and parade them in front of me. Play their games. I don't want it. You got to fight, take it to the person you're fighting with. I don't want to hear it. I don't like talking behind folks' back. Talk to their face. Tell them. Somebody tell me about what somebody did the other night. I said, jump their ass. Don't get on me. I'm not their keeper. If you don't like what somebody's doing in the radio room, tell them. Right? Nobody's sacred here, right? We're all made of mud, whatever it is. What is that old song? What is that? Muscle and blood. Skin and bone. What is it? Yeah. Yeah, we haven't got a lot of strong backs even. We could sure, there's a message in that song, but Americans never got it. Okay. What to do with these two? You don't want to hear me talk, and I don't want to talk. Shift. Oh, Lord Jesus, in the morning.
Dad, before they went to Pat Grenner's crew, I had requested that they be separated. And like Mark, I know he'll play word games with you. So, you know, whatever he does, he needs to be in a very structured situation. And Pat Grenner had a program for him. You know, we had his time structured out throughout the day. But Mark will play word games. Like if he does something, because I'm holding a check.
Can I ask first of Dick Drop and we'll go over with the farm manager and Lee Ingram, and some of the, say, let's just say, cross-section of the secretaries, and Shonda and Joyce. Charlie will be well in a couple of days. But right now, go over the farm reports so that the farm won't be insulated, so the farm reports will be highly looked at and scrutinized, so we don't have to go into this tonight.
Right, Dad.
Okay, you'll call a meeting sometime over the weekend? Okay. Very well. Albert ought to be in it, too. Yes.
Okay, Mark will play. He will play like word games. So if he does something, when he needs to be made, to see that whatever the consequences are was his own choice. And a person has to be very explicit with him, because if you leave one word out, he'll dwell on that. Like if he says, Mark, why did you do this? And it's something he did 2 days in a row. He'll pick a day that you're not talking about, and he'll dwell on, I didn't do it yesterday, or like this. So you have to be. You have to tell him exactly what he's done and make him see that whatever the consequences, that is his choice. And sometimes he responds to that. But if you leave one word out or kind of go any way off of whatever the subject is, you kind of lose control over him. And Glenell, he just locks up. He doesn't say too much. He'll freeze. He won't talk. So they need to definitely be separated and be.
We're gonna have to separate them now because they're running and doing that thing. I think we're gonna have to separate them best. I think one of them's gonna have to go into the box. One out, one in. So which one's been given the worst problem?
Mark has been given the most problem, and it seems that like Mark is more or less the leader of Glenell, because Glenell, he'll act real good. He'll be untied and everything, and he'll sit and quietly, and Mark is constantly blaming Glendale for anything he says. He talks all day long, and he'll blame Glenell for anything that he says. Sebastian comes to tell you or act.
Yeah,
act
okay. I get the point. I see. You've already given me my solution. Mark's been there the longest, causing the difficulties the longest. Now, your mama said to you, and I think it was sweet and loving of her to say it, for the general good, as much as she loves you and she loves you, that you guys ought to both be parked out there tonight under rope. That's what she sent a message up to being parked on a rope out there to see if the tiger wants to come and get you. Now, you see, your mama's not going to back you up to what I'm trying to say. She loves you, but you're causing trouble for all. She's got other children, everybody. And that's what she was saying, that you ought to just go out there and see. Naturally, with the gun, we hope the gun will get to the tiger before it got to you. How do you two feel about that?
Bad. Bad.
You like to jump out of windows? Why you don't want to do that? You want to jump out of windows?
Do you think I'll send you? Do you think I'll put you out there?
Yes. Yes.
You really do?
Yes. Yes.
I don't believe it. I think that's the one thing that shows true about Dad. I don't believe it. I don't believe you carry on like this and think you're going to go out there. Dad never came to kill, he came to heal. Dad never came to hurt, but to relieve pain. You think I'm going to put you out there at the tiger?
Yes. Yes.
They don't believe that day. They don't believe that.
I can't believe it. I can't believe they want to mess that tiger. I may have to step out of the way and let the people do a lot of things if this don't stop, though. This is ridiculous. People get tired, they get sick, they get old. They're sleepy tonight. Mess with you. No one's got a good enough shot to keep you from getting it. I don't know. I believe you're playing games.
He is. I think.
You think Dad's not gonna put you out? That's why you said They don't. I hope you get prescribed
Okay, boys. How many think you ought to go out there?
Look.
How do you feel about it, brothers? You're getting ready to go. Yeah, I knew you didn't believe it. Now you're beginning to touch it. It's beginning to get to you, but you didn't believe it. Bye bye.
Oh no, y'all heard that?
I know they don't want to go. All right. Now, in the closing, is anything you got out of it? I want to test for the audience reaction of where communist consciousness is. What did you get out of it? Jeff said he got something that helped him endure his learning crew. What did you get out of it? Question or anything else? Marie? Shift, please.
I know personally I take liberties not to follow your example, and I was watching you and listening to you while you were describing your pain in your head and different things, and I was thinking about some of the illnesses I'm supposed to have and the fact that I deal with, that I know that I could go ahead on and do things anyway, and I was trying to correct that in myself as I listened to you.
I think that's honest, Marie. A lot of people, because I am stoic with pain, very stoic. Doctor can work on and cut me open, took a growth off of my ass, if you remember once. Never took any anesthesia because I couldn't take the anesthesia because I had a meeting that night. I didn't dare be out. We were going through some shit right then, back in Los Angeles. So they cut the growth out of my ass without any anesthetic. And that is a trip. So but I don't show it because I don't think I have the right to impose upon every pain. It's terrible to see people. You go and you don't know what to do with them. Stand up. I feel so bad. You ask them. You can't ask some people, how are you? They don't say, okay, it's wonderful. Some people will. There's a few sweet people say, blessed in every way, Father. Thank you for bringing me to promised land. You don't ask them. Goddamn, don't ask them. You regret it. You'll be sorry. So I try to keep my pain away from people. The only reason I ever explain it is so they can understand. Principle, you understand. Because I don't want sympathy. I don't think I am entitled to sympathy. I really don't think I'm entitled to sympathy. No matter what I've gone through, I don't think I'm entitled to sympathy. When I think of a little boy facing 4 little children, and I've got a lot of horror stories like that, and everyone ought to keep them vividly. Hell, I got a horror story out of just looking at Nancy Sines' picture of that black mother with that baby in her arm. That haunted me. She caught that. I don't know whether she caught it in herself, in all of her ways. I don't know, but I caught it. That's hell. Nightmare. Go ahead.
That was the most significant thing to me, because I'm trying to deal with my own guilt, and instead of suppressing it and using it like, well, yeah, I feel guilty.